the scene of the crash about 30 kilometers south of Boggabilla, in which 3 people died this morning. 7 News Toowoomba police are appealing for any witnesses to a horror triple-fatal highway crash this morning to come forward. The appeal comes as the Newell Highway south of Boggabilla remains closed for the foreseeable future as investigators piece together how the tragic crash occurred. Detective Inspector David Silversides, crime manager of the Barwon Local Area Command, said forensic crash investigators from Tamworth had arrived at the scene of the horror smash involving a fuel tanker, Pantech truck and smaller car. "I can't confirm 3 are deceased from the incident this morning," Insp. Silversides said. "The highway will be in lockdown for a number of hours to allow for that investigation to take place. Emergency services including the NSW Fire Brigade and NSW Roads and Maritime Services helped remove an amount of fuel from the vehicles involved in the crash, which occurred about 6:10 am. The NSW Environment Protection Authority was also called in to assist with the scene cleanup." Insp. Silversides said no emergency services personnel were injured as a result of containing the scene, and confirmed the fire had broken out near the smash. "There was a fire at the scene as a result of the collision, which the fire brigade was able to attend to quickly on attending the scene," he said. "Police will investigate how the 3 vehicles collided on the Newell Highway, and prepare a report for the coroner." Insp. Silversides urged anyone with any information to contact the authorities. "Obviously, our first focus is on the investigation at the scene and clearing the highway," he said. "Once we've done that, obviously there will be some analysis of the exhibits seized, statements from potential witnesses involved, forensic examination of the vehicles where we can and is appropriate, and collect any information that might come from the community. Anybody that may have been on the Newell Highway in the vicinity of the collision that may be able to provide footage or any descriptions of the vehicles, contact Moray Police or Crime Stoppers. Investigations are continuing." 1 p.m. The driver of a fuel tanker involved in a triple highway fatality this morning has been airlifted to Toowoomba. The RTCQ Life Flight Rescue helicopter was initially tasked to the scene of a horror smash involved 2 trucks and car, but was redirected to Goondiwindi. The crash, about 30 kilometers south of Boggabilla on the Newell Highway, claimed the lives of 2 women and a man. Initial investigations suggest the 2 women were traveling in the car, while the man was driving the Pantech truck, when the 3 vehicles collided about 6:10 am. The male driver of the fuel tanker, aged in his early 30s, was transported by road to Goondiwindi Hospital before he was airlifted to Toowoomba Hospital in the stable condition. The man suffered multiple suspected head, limb and internal injuries after he was ejected from the tanker. Investigations into the cause of the crash are continuing and the Newell Highway is expected to remain closed for most of the day. NSW police have appealed for anyone who may have witnessed the crash to contact them. Noon. Police have established the crime scene as investigations continue into a triple fatal crash south of Goondiwindi this morning. The Newell Highway remains closed and crime scene established where the fuel tanker, Pantech truck with a trailer and car crashed about 30 kilometers south of Boggabilla about 6:10 am. The occupants of the car, believed to be 2 women, died at the scene. The 3rd victim of the horror smash has been identified as the male driver of the Pantech truck who died at the scene. The male driver of the fuel tanker was transported to Goondiwindi Hospital after being treated at the scene. It is understood he will be airlifted to Toowoomba Hospital. NSW police have established the crime scene around the smash and investigations are continuing. 10:15 am. 3 teenagers have been killed in a horror highway smash involving 2 trucks and car this morning. Paramedics confirmed 3 people died at the scene of the crash on the Newell Highway at 6:12 am today, about 30 kilometers south of Boggabilla across the Queensland border. Queensland Ambulance Service Executive Manager of Operations Glenn Mall described the scene as very severe. Unfortunately, there's been 3 people deceased in this incident and we've transported one of the other truck drivers to the Goondiwindi Hospital with some lacerations to his face and back pain, Mr. Mall said. He's being assessed at the Goondiwindi Hospital at this stage and just awaiting to see whether he'll be transported further by one of our helicopters. The New South Wales Ambulance Service and one of their managers have been on scene, and from what we've been told by the officers who responded from Goondiwindi, it has been a very huge scene with debris from the vehicles involved in the accident spread over a fairly large area. On the highway, the highway is expected to remain closed to all traffic for hours as police investigate the cause of the horror fatal rollover. One would expect that the police would have to do some significant inquiries into what's occurred this morning to be able to piece together what's happened to cause such a tragedy to occur, with 3 young people in their late teens and mid-teens losing their lives, he said. Earlier, emergency services are at the scene of a serious traffic crash involving a fuel tanker, truck and cart this morning. Initial reports from the scene suggest 2 trucks and a smaller car were involved in the collision on the Newell Highway about 30 kilometers south of Boggabilla, across the Queensland border. At least one of the vehicles involved was on fire when Queensland Fire and Emergency Services arrived on scene to back up NSW firefighters. One person is believed to be trapped in one of the vehicles. Queensland ambulance paramedics have transported 2 people to Goondiwindi Hospital in a stable condition. Motorists are urged to avoid the area, but diversions are in place down the Carnarvon Highway, Boonangar Road, and Mungindi-Goondiwindi Bridge Road to Goondiwindi onto the Brunsender Highway to Boggabilla.